This is the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550. And now, here's your host, Sarah Mosen.
Folks, I'm so very happy to have Big Bully, WWE Wrestling Pro Wrestler, plus so much more. You've done so much. Nick, I heard you over the past weekend or so with Allegheny Health, speaking, inspirational. Can you share a little bit, Nick?
Sure, and I appreciate you having me on the show here. What a great inspiration you are to put the word out like you do, and you're all involved in fitness. And what happened, and as you know, we have a mutual friend, Sarah Wernert, who helps train you, and I help Sarah in certain things. And April of 2015, I got diagnosed with esophageal cancer.
Yes.
And, I never knew I had it. In fact, I was training for a powerlifting contest, needless to say, Masters Division. Mm-hmm. But, and I was having trouble swallowing, and eventually got to the point where it was bothering me. And I went in and had the scope. And when I come out of the scope, they said, we got to send you for a CAT scan. And I said, well, I know that's not good.
Right.
And so needless to say, they come up and they says, well, we know it's definitely stage 3, but we're going to have to run some more tests. And when they did, it was diagnosed as stage 4. So at that time, they ruled out surgery. And frankly, they're going to try to manage it and keep me alive a little longer.
Right.
And so I went through some chemo treatments. I went through chemo treatments that Superman may have had trouble going through.
Right.
And by the grace of God, I got through that, and I don't know any other way to put it, but it was an absolute miracle because the doctor come in just shaking his head. He says, first of all, he says, we didn't expect to get you this far. He says, second of all, he says, this tumor is cancer-free now, and your lymph nodes, there's no cancer showing. He says, we can move forward with the surgery. I said, okay, well, that's a good thing. And yeah, it was a good thing. But I don't know what was worse, the chemo or the surgery, because it was very invasive surgery. And for folks that have had this esophageal cancer, they understand what I'm saying. And for folks out there that have had cancer, they know what the chemo is. So, and cancer is when I went to the Allegheny Health Network, they asked me to speak on it. But cancer takes over not only the person's life who has it, but all the surrounding people around it, all the way up into and including friends. So I had the surgery, and they were going to try to do it robotically, but all the years of abuse on my body from back when I was wrestling for the WWE as Big Bully Busick, they tried to go in, and they couldn't because the ribs had been so mangled throughout the years that they had to take 4 ribs out on top of it.
Wow.
So when I woke up, I felt like a train hit me, I got through that, and, my body weight went from 275. I went all the way down to 185. Yeah. And, I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. And then once we healed up and they did the first CAT scan after the surgery to see if there was anything shown. Nothing was shown. And I figured, well, I'm clear. I'm out of the water now. I could start trying to do stuff because Lord have mercy, my muscles were atrophied. I basically lost a person. And they says, no, we got to do post chemo now. I went, oh man, you got to be kidding me. And I had to do that whole regimen of chemo again, just precautionary, I guess is what they call it. So I got through that, and then next thing you know, nice and easy, slow but sure, back in the gym. And, when they do this esophageal surgery, what they do is it's like a gastro bypass. They take the esophagus out and they rebuild it with the stomach. Mm-hmm. So it only leaves your stomach the size of a fist maybe. And for me, for somebody that likes to eat, and I did like to eat, I still adjust to that to this day. Right. So, but they told me, your body weight's not going to get above 200, but well, I got to try to prove them wrong. So I'm fluctuating between 215 and 220, and I'm doing basically what I preach to people in their workouts. I'm doing my basics, my squats, my benches, my deadlifts. The strength, needless to say, is nowhere near what it was. But I'm back in there, T-bone steaks and barbell plates, Sarah, you know.
Yeah, and you look phenomenal. And I'll tell you, it's an inspiration.
Very kind.
It's true. You're an inspiration. You bring hope to the table. I think it's so very important to be hopeful, to believe in miracles. I was very honored to sit at the table with your wife, your daughter, your beautiful grandchild.
Well, am I a sucker for them grandkids? I'll tell you. I ain't much of a bully with them kids around, I'll tell you that much.
I know, but it was such a beautiful moment because at the event, at the Allegheny Health Network event, when you were speaking, you spoke from the heart, and that is so important. It is also a part of your support system that can make people get healthier as well, outside of the great doctors and the facilities available to us. But it was such a joyful moment because Sarah Warner is my coach, my trainer, who who was competing at that point. You were coaching her for a show, and that's how I met her. And I said, I want to know what she's doing. And so she started training me. It's been 5 years, and so blessed to have the connection with you and also with cancer, because it's such a huge thing affecting so many lives. And so to know that there is hope and that we can at least give that hope to people, to know that, you know, there's so much that is happening. There are changes in, you know, medication and things of that nature. Support system is key, right?
It's absolutely key. And, you know, when they asked me to speak and they wanted to talk about fitness, now, I'm no priest, I'm no reverend, I'm no minister, but one of the key facts is spiritual fitness along with physical fitness, and like I say, I'm not sitting here preaching for anybody to do any type of religious things, but the spiritual fitness thing is something that really helped me get through it, and where I got the idea for speaking and trying to explain spiritual fitness was through a title paper that Dr. Darlene Sperlazza Anthony did. And the title of the paper was called Lipid Response Treatment with Prayer Utilizing a 12-Step Program. And it was done at the University of Alabama. And I had to write that down and read it, Sarah, because I wouldn't have remembered that whole title. But and they found some amazing results on it. And so that is key, because you can't let your mind can go crazy. Once you're diagnosed, your mind can go crazy. You don't know which direction to go. And for the people out there that know somebody that has cancer, or in fact maybe they have had cancer, it's you know, when they tell you got the big C, guess what? You might be buying the farm. You know, so you have to prepare for that. You have to prepare for that. So you do what you need to do to get in some sort of spiritual fitness mode. So that whatever comes, so-called day at a time, you deal with it accordingly. I mean, I remember getting out of bed and walking to the restroom and looking in the mirror saying, God, what happened? I mean, just atrophy and you know, laying, it was months that I couldn't even get out of bed, you know, so the spiritual fitness played a key role even to getting back in the gym.
Right.
And you know yourself, when you're in the gym and you're training and Sarah's telling you, no, well, what about this? Or one of the things I like to say to her if I'm watching her train is if she does a rep bad, I say, oh, that was terrible, Sarah. She went, oh, man. You know, but when you get to the point where you're at like number 6 or number 8 rep, and what are you thinking about? You have anything in your mind but just getting through that set?
Oh, no, you're there. You're in the zone. I mean, you've trained her, and she has trained me. I can see where it's coming from as well, because you're in the zone. I mean, people have said, oh, you guys work out together on Sundays. We train together. She's my coach. But we're kind of like, really? I haven't seen you, don't remember you, because you're not there. You are not present there, you know, looking at who's there at the gym. You're just working as hard as possible to get to that level. And, you know, she competed in the NPC. She's a fitness model. She's amazing at what she does, and she absolutely loves you and adores you. And I can see why, because you have such a kind, generous soul.
It's not bad for a bully, right?
I mean, and you had fun wrestling with the WWE.
Oh, I had a blast. You know, I started here in Pittsburgh when it was the WWF.
Wow.
And Bruno was my sports hero, and I had Dominic DiNucci, Johnny DeFazio, all these guys around here that were kind enough to walk me through that. And I just, the wrestling fan is the greatest fan in the world, and I had a blast.
Yeah.
But the powerlifting, I fell in love with weight training back when I was 15 years old. So I got many years walking and rolling in these gyms, but it's a thing like you just described when you're in there working out, and anybody that goes to the gym or anybody that runs, when you get in that zone, that's a form of a spiritual fitness thing.
It is. It's therapy for me. I mean, it's addictive. It's something that I cannot do without. In fact, I'm not in a good space if I don't get a workout in.
Exactly.
It changes everything. Whether you're running or you're lifting weights, all of it. And
well, let me ask you this: if you miss a workout versus getting your workout,
yeah,
what is your attitude difference?
I'm a bully. No,
I like it.
It's a drug. It's your drug of choice. Some people drink, smoke. I like to work out, so I'm just.
And it shows, by the way. You look like $1 million.
Well, I love it, and I think that there's such a great connection with people who are in the fitness industry. So
there is.
It's a fun place. It's positive energy. People compete against each other, but yet it's fun because you make friends and lifelong stories such as yours with Sarah. I mean, I think she was telling me about how much she lifted over the years with you and how strong you made her.
And people underestimate, and I got to be careful I don't get on my soapbox here when it comes about training. I'm a believer in strength training. You'll see a lot of people, especially people that want to lose weight, they'll get on a treadmill and just run and run and run.
Right.
And that excessive cardio burns lean muscle. And they don't realize that, and they're wondering why they're not losing weight. Now, I'm no expert on a diet. I'll leave that to you and Sarah about eating, because I'll eat this microphone if I'm hungry. but the working out part is key important. And I see people, even when the people are getting ready for a contest, they're hitting this cardio, and they're burning lean muscle. Why do you want to burn a lean muscle?
Yeah.
If you want to get your cardio up, go at about 70% of your 1 rep max and get 8 reps. Now, we might start talking to the audience that's over their head a little bit. But just, hey, folks, if you're out there, find your local gym, even if it's a chain gym. We mentioned LA Fitness here around Pittsburgh. They're a nationwide place, and I don't get paid anything to plug them, or get a mom and pop operation that's around there that has a good gym. There's plenty of good facilities. Get in the gym.
Right, and I mean, there's so many great places to visit. I mean, in Pittsburgh, there's good studios. We have Urban Elements and Psychology with Sharon and Brittany. They own it. It's good cycle and yoga. So yoga is really mind-body connection. Very good.
Well, yeah, my good friend Diamond Dallas Page. He has DDP yoga, and that's just taken off. And you have your program, America's Next Great Trainer.
Right, that's coming out. So we're working with Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Arnold Classic, which you're familiar with.
I
in March.
am very much so.
Right. So we have the TV show coming out, and we did a couple of episodes in Pittsburgh covering a few studios for the New York stations.
Isn't it amazing how many gyms are here in the Pittsburgh area?
I know.
Well, you have the NPC. Jim Mannion lives here in Pittsburgh.
And Gary Udit. So we, living, it doesn't matter where you are. I think that health and wellness and finances. So people often ask me, they kind of wonder, and folks, you can call us here at 1-800-662-9550 on questions as well on fitness related matters, and other that we're going to be chatting with Nick Busick about shortly. But the bottom line is, what we have done over the years is we are really focused on financial stability. We work in lending. We are in commercial residential properties throughout the country, so making sure people are able to lower their interest rates, save as much money as possible on their mortgages, live healthy lives, invest in their health and wellness. Sometimes you have debt that's accrued and you're unable to pay it because your local lender only allows people with 700 scores approvals. We go down to 580 scores. We'll fix the situation that 80% of us, Joe Schmo like me, the average American who works every day and is not a trust fund baby, who has had challenges, and we know what it's like. We got hit so hard 7 years ago with the housing market collapsing. People ended up having their properties go down, or losing their homes. So what we've done over and over again is to make sure that your wellness and your finances go hand in hand so that you can lead a really prosperous life, investing in your faith and your family. And those are the two things they get taken away when you're financial.
Well, I think you made a great analogy with what you do with your mortgage company. You can take that and compare that to a good gym or fitness facility. See, what you have in your mortgage company, you're providing for people what a good gym provides for people with their fitness. You take their financial stuff, and again, people, what's the number again?
It's 1-800-662-9550.
So, folks, if you're out there and you're looking at a mortgage, you need to call Sarah, because what's going to happen is, just like the people that I'm talking about that have this gym, they want you to do good and excel, what Sarah's going to do is take the time, and she's going to explain the financial end of things, much like somebody in a gym that has a gym that cares about you is going to explain what you need to do to get where you need to go.
So, Nick, we were chatting a little bit about what you're doing with safety. Can you explain a little bit about your company?
Sure. For years, in fact, I became a policeman when I was 19. I just turned 19 years old. I may have been the first policeman in the United States to be hired that young.
Wow.
But anyway, it was down in Weirton, West Virginia, and I stayed there for 10 years, and then. Because of the wrestling, I always did the wrestling as my side income instead of having to go out and direct traffic and stuff. And I wound up in Atlanta, and I got back into law enforcement down there. Then I wound up with a contract with WWE, and boom, off I go to travel and play Big Bully Busick. And so when I got out of that, I wound up in the casino industry at Mountaineer Casino, and I was their senior investigator. And that lasted till 2011, and I says, well, now what am I going to do when I grow up? So I says, okay. I bought a drug testing and a background check franchise, and I said, I'll start doing that, because I was getting a little older, and I didn't feel like going out and doing all the investigations and all that kind of stuff. So my main customer was to go out on the gas and oil fields, because it was booming back then.
Yeah, it was.
And because they all drug tested. And don't you know the next thing, because in my law enforcement background, I was at the police academies, and I was an instructor for use of force and these type of things. And it was a natural fit to venture into the safety and the training and that type of thing. So I wound up in that. And, I got through this cancer journey so far, and so I'm starting to rebuild that, because for almost 2 years I was unable to work. So I'm venturing back into that, and we're going to start doing that, and the training aspect. And I'm tied up with a company down in Louisiana called PEC, and what they do is they're a tracking and a standardized training safety company that I can go into any company from gas and oil to general industry and combine their safety and get with their safety people and do all kind of good things.
That's terrific. Is there a number or a way to reach you on any of those?
Yeah, you know what? If anybody's interested, just go on Facebook, and Nick Busick is under Facebook, and you'll see me with a picture there with the British Bulldog as I try to twist his head off. But I leave my Facebook wide open. Anybody can go on it, and they can send me a message.
Or you can call us. You can always reach us.
Yeah, call Sarah.
And I'll
when you're ready to refinance, I want you to call Sarah and get what you need to do, and then she'll tell you how to get to a gym, and you'll have your finances in order.
Fitness and the safety.
You'll feel like $1 million, and everything will be good.
The number here, 1-800-662-9550. And, finally, the whole thing with having hope and believing in miracles. So many of my friends and family members have been affected by cancer. So you truly, there's so much hope out there. And I certainly have said to friends that talk to Nick, watch what a miracle, can happen. And, something that we, can seem so helpless through prayer and goodwill and support. Things can.
Absolutely. And Sarah, I appreciate you having me on and being able to share my experience, strength, and hope. And here, this is for your viewers. Now, again, I don't push any type of religion. Like you heard me say when I was speaking, I'm an Orthodox Christian, but it don't matter what it is. If you know somebody that doesn't believe in miracles, You listen to Sarah's show and you call Sarah's show and she'll put me in touch with you, because I'll explain to you what miracles are, because I am definitely a walking miracle. You send them to Nick Busick. All your listeners out there, you find somebody doesn't believe in miracles, you send them to Nick Busick through Sarah's show.
I'm a believer, and it's interesting with connecting all of this. We about a year and a half ago, we published a book through Zulon Press, which is a part of Salem Media Group with our station. And the book was called The Gift Is You. It's 8 chapters. Sarah Werner contributed a chapter. So this book, it can be purchased on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Zulon Press. 100% of the proceeds go to St. Jude's Cancer Research.
Wow.
So
I love it.
So St. Jude's Cancer Research, as we all know, is for children. Provides housing and help when it comes to, cancer-related matters for these families who may not be able to afford the treatments or the housing. And St. Jude's Cancer Research for children, 97% of all donations are used for the families. So they're not taking more than 3% for the operating costs.
Man, that just... I got to watch. I'm losing my image as Big Bully Busick here, because that tugs on my heartstrings.
Right.
And I got to give a shout out to all the healthcare professionals, from the nurses to the surgeons, and especially with the cancer people. And I can't imagine having to be with these kids and oh, Lord have mercy. But they are so great and so caring and so kind. At Allegheny Health Network, when we were up there, they had that event. And what did we have, 300 people there, something like that?
Oh, no, yeah, it was over 300, and they did a great job. I actually chatted with Stephanie Waite. Everyone was outstanding. Stephanie is with media relations, and everybody was very kind and supportive, and it was well organized, and the speakers were great, and it was it's necessary. It's necessary for people to hear that there is hope and there are miracles, and that a coming together, even if you've had loss. I lost my aunt to cancer, but the thing is, there's hope, and there are things that we can do. We can volunteer. We can be a part of the process. We can write a book and give all the proceeds away just to do it. It's not because you can maybe create this wave of hope and the belief in the fact that there are miracles and they do occur. And so I am so grateful that you are open to people calling you and to reach out to hear the message, to be able to hear that there is hope, that you are a true sign of a miracle, and that we all are, for whatever reason, why I met Sarah, how I met her, and through her I met you. Sarah's been my coach. She's like my little sister. I love her in every respect. She's a part of my family, and you train with someone for 5 years. It's been a great journey, especially if you compete. When you're competing and you're on a very strict diet, that's when friendships collapse.
Well, that's why I took the powerlifting, because these old powerlifters, we can eat anything in sight. We don't have to be like you fitness folks. You got to watch what you eat and all that stuff.
Right, but it's been a remarkable journey, and what I want people to just understand and hear is that your health is number one. Your wellness is number one. Your finances, if they're in check, then it allows your health to prosper. Because 72%, believe it or not, Nick, of us, 72% of us are losing sleep because of our finances, and it's
that's a big number. I didn't know that. It's a big number,
and that creates health issues. So why I've always blended the two, our mortgage company here at Mosen, with fitness, is that. When your financial house is in order, then you are able to have the freedom now to invest in your faith and your family, and the relationships don't disappear.
And enjoy life, right?
Right, exactly. And people, that's why 50% of us, unfortunately, are divorced, because you're fighting over money matters when you don't need to.
Sure.
And so finding solutions and having hope, those are the things that are really, really important to all of us, to make sure that we have that, to reach out to the people that are able to provide you that hope. Because there's a lot of negative energy out there. You don't.
Well, and Sarah, that just by what you're providing here, not only with the fitness but with the mortgage end of things, what you're doing is you're creating an environment. And everybody, I don't care who it is a product of their environment.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who you are. You go into a barbershop enough times, you're going to get a haircut. Well, you walk on a treadmill long enough, you're going to get in shape. Or you pick up a dumbbell and start doing curls, something's going to happen. So what you're doing with your radio program and your mortgage company, you're creating an environment. And I encourage all your listeners to call in and let Sarah do what she does best and get you squared away financially.
And with that, Nick, any last words? We're just going to wrap up.
No, again, I appreciate you having me on your show. Being able to share my experience, strength, and hope. And again, if anybody, go to my Facebook page if you want to send me a message. It's Nick Busick. You'll see the Big Bully Busick photos and all the good stuff and the bodyguard stuff and all kind of fun stuff on there. I'm open to the public. And Sarah, thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure. The number here, 1-800-662-9550. We wonderful having you here, Nick Busick. Big Bully, WWE. Fun stuff and a lot of hope and miracles. That's really all, that's what life's about.
It is indeed.
Stay well, folks.
This has been the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550.